If you're like me, you might have quite a few pots of glitter and embossing glitter in your craft room, and there are several ways you can use it in your paper craft projects. Often these colours are more varied and interesting compared to buying regular glitter cardstock, and they can really step up your projects. So today I have 3 ways to create your own glitter cardstock and make your DIY cardstock the focal element of your cards. I'm Verity and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, why not think about subscribing so you don't miss out on my next video. The first technique combines Wow Sparkles glitter with double-sided adhesive tape. Now this can come in all different forms, from thin strips to wide tape rolls to full sheets. I have some 2-inch wide tape here in my stash, and I'm covering a piece of A5 Wow Superior Smooth cardstock completely with the tape. If you have 4 sheets of double-sided tape, then you can cover it with this, but this is what I had to hand at the time. Wow's cardstock is great for this technique as the card isn't too thick, so when the glitter is applied, you can still die cut through it. Now remove the release paper and then cover with Wow Sparkles glitter. The glitter I'm using is Stroke of Midnight, and this is a stunning blue and silver glitter mix. I think it's become my new favourite glitter. Now I suggest putting something down over your surface to catch the glitter and to make the cleanup so much more easier later on. Next you need to burnish the glitter into the adhesive so it sticks well. So cover up the cardstock with another scrap of paper and then using your bone folder, just rub this over the top, really pushing the glitter down. Afterwards you will just then want to tap off the cardstock a few times. This will just remove any loose glitter that's not been able to adhere down. This took no time at all, and we now have an A5 piece of glitter cardstock to keep in your stash and use over and over again until it's all used up. So to turn this into a card, I've die cut a stitched rectangle from the card panel, and I'm going to die cut the word happy from this using Altenew fine alphabet dies. To make sure my letters are straight, I'm using my grid mat to align the letters on some washi tape. As I've only got one P, I'm just temporarily using another letter similar in width to work out the positioning for the Y. Obviously remove that letter, so I'm using R in this instance, before you die cut, and then you'll want to run it through again, but just moving the P along. Now you can use the letters in another card, but make sure you keep the inners of the A and the P for this card. To assemble, I'm adhering the panel to an 8 1/4 inches by 4 1/8 inch card base, which is the size I'm using for all of the cards today. To complete the card, I'm adding the word happy in white, and I've layered the letters up 3 times for some dimension. Once all the letters are in, we can then go back and with the inners of the A and the P and insert them for a much more seamless look. Now I have a stash of sentiments in a little tub already stamped and embossed, so I found a birthday white heat embossed onto some grey cardstock that goes really well with the colour scheme, and I'm foam mounting this onto the panel. Now foam tape won't stick well to glitter cardstock, but to overcome this, just add some dabs of liquid glue to the foam before you adhere it down. This is then going to really adhere well on the rough texture of the glitter. Lastly, I added some silver sequins just to highlight the silver glitter in the card, but that glitter cardstock just steals the show on this card and it doesn't really need much else. Those leftover letters can be then used to create another card, and I'm adhering the letters to corresponding letters die cut out of white fun foam. For the background, I'm using a stencil to create a textured tone-on-tone look, and I'm applying some embossing paste from Altenew through the hand-painted striped stencil from Thirsty Brush & Co. with a palette knife. Now I recommend applying the embossing paste in the direction of the lines to prevent paste smooshing underneath if you were to go in the opposite direction of the lines. So I left the panel to dry, and once it was, I die cut another stitched rectangle and foam mounted it onto a card base to reduce any warping that may have occurred from the embossing paste. Now I'm using my T ruler to align the letters straight as I use Gina K Connect glue to adhere them down. Remember, this is a textured surface, so it's best to use a liquid glue to ensure they stay put. Again, I'm finishing the card off with some silver and dark blue sequins, and I love the stunning simplicity of this card with all the elegance seen from the shine to the tone-on-tone background. For the second technique, we are going to use bonding powder along with the Wow sparkles to create glitter cardstock. When you're using bonding powder, you create a sticky surface that you can either apply foil to or adhere glitter to. So you use it in the same way as an embossing powder. You need to cover your surface with clear ultra slow drying embossing ink from Wow and then cover with bonding powder. Next, you then use your heat gun and you just melt the powder until it goes clear. And this is quite hard to see on video, unfortunately. Now I repeat this 2 to 3 times to get a good sticky layer on my card surface, and when I'm happy with the amount I have, I'm then ready to apply the glitter. Now you need to make sure the surface is still sticky, so if it's cooled a little bit, you just want to give it a quick blast with the heat gun to get it sticky again. The sparkles I'm using here is Ice Pop, and this is from one of the Catherine Poulet inspired by trios called Melon Ice. It's a lovely soft yellowy green and iridescent glitter mix. After I've covered it in the glitter, I just like to heat it again. This is to allow the bonding powder just to soften a little bit more and let the glitter sink into it more and adhere well. Now I'm repeating covering it with bonding powder and then with glitter just to build up the intensity and colour of the glitter, but you can leave it at whatever stage you prefer. To create the card, I'm die cutting the Altenew fine bouquet die, and I'm using a metal shim when I'm die cutting this as it's quite a delicate die to die cut through glitter. I'm adhering this to a grey stitched rectangle as the contrast in colours allows the glitter to really pop. If I'd thought ahead, I could have added stick adhesive sheets on the back of the glitter cardstock before I die cut it, just making it easier to adhere to the card. But I didn't, and I'm just using some small dabs of glue on the back and it worked just as well. I added a black stamped Just For You sentiment from the Altenew Floral Vine stamp set and then finished it off with some Trinity Stamps Soapy Bubbles confetti mix. These tie in really well and beautifully with the Ice Pop sparkles. Again, this is another simple card to make, but that glitter die cut is so stunning that you don't need to overdo the card and add more to it. The simplicity allows the sparkles to take centre stage. So the last technique for creating glitter cardstock is to use embossing glitter. Wow has a whole host of embossing glitters, and if you're part of the Facebook group, you will have seen plenty of inspiration using it for this month's challenge. Now, embossing glitters work the same way as embossing powders, but they have glitter added to them. So I'm applying embossing ink to some cardstock and then covering it with Turkish Knights embossing glitter. This has gold and red flecks of glitter mixed into a gold and pinky copper embossing powder, which is gorgeous when it's heat set. I'm applying 2 to 3 coats of the powder just to get a good coverage and to build up the layers on the card. Now, if you don't like the texture of embossing glitter, as it can be quite rough, you can do one simple thing to smoothen it out. That's to add a top layer of clear gloss embossing powder. Not only does it smooth out the surface, it also emphasises the shine from the flecks of glitter and just looks stunning. For the card design, I'm trimming the embossed panel down into 1/4 inch strips and foam mounting the strips onto a grey stitched rectangle. I find it best to adhere the top and the bottom strip first and then add the remaining strips in between to allow you to make sure you get them evenly spaced out. For the sentiment, I'm just adding a single white Big Hello sugar script die cut from Birch Press Designs to the front of the card and finishing it off with some gold and soft sequins to bring out the colours in the embossing glitter. There are so many colours of embossing glitters to choose from, you'll find it hard just to make one card, but they're so easy to use and add so much shine and fun to your cards. Out of all 3 techniques, my favourite is simply using adhesive tape to create large sheets of glitter cardstock to build up your stash. And I really have fallen for that Stroke of Midnight sparkles, it's stunning in person. This was produced as part of my design teamwork for Wow Embossing Powder, and links are listed below. For 10% discount at the shop, enter the code that you can see on screen. If you're not a subscriber of mine already, why not think about clicking that button below along with the bell icon to be notified when my next video is up. I really do appreciate your support. Also, why not check out this other video for some more inspiration. Until next time, happy crafting!